Thank you so much for waiting with us, guys. I know that was a little bit of a slightly longer break. I know Skimmy and Tally had a good time. They went and made their teas. They're feeling fresh, ready for Series 2 tonight, finishing off the night. I just went and made myself a cordial and delightful. Absolutely delightful.
Look, I made a tea. I lay down in bed for like 10 minutes. Life is good.
Life is good.
I'm happy.
It's the final night of the week. We're looking pretty good, right? It's not looking pretty good, but we got teams to look at, Skimmy. We can't keep talking about your tea. It's looking delicious.
Yes.
But let's look at the first one. We got the Dire Wolves straight off the bat, and this team has got something in the makings, Tally.
Yeah, definitely. We finally got to see like what Dials can do when they work together as a team, and like I want to like iterate on this again that they are probably one of the better team working rosters we have seen so far in the league, and I want to see what that looks like against one of our better teams in the region. Like, are they going to be able to just run back the same play style that is very obvious what they're going to do in draft, and is Bliss prepared to deal with that?
It's going to be a lot. It's a bit of a tall order as well, and we'll get to Bliss in just a second, but I think Katakuri as well, the star of this team, the one sort of the glue holding them together, is really stepping up and sort of driving his team to be better as well. So I'm quite keen to see how they're going to be able to do this. Is there anything you expect from this roster, though, Skimmy?
Yeah, like I'm just hoping that Katsuri hits all, cylinders firing. He's, at his best as per usual, and that the rest of the team can rally around. I think Guapi has shown that he's got an interest in playing pretty much anything, and whether or not that means he wants to be a carry or a supportive mid laner, I'm all for it, because they'll need any kind of assistance they can get to try and take down this juggernaut of a team in Bliss.
It's a massive team. This is another one of those star teams. Are we expecting them, Tally, to maybe get one of those awesome new records coming out? Because we've seen 2 top-tier teams out of the 3-4 that we've had break records from days past. And this team might be the same, but they're looking fierce.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, Bliss have been sleeping a bit. They haven't really had that, big showing. When we look at Ground Zero and even Antic in our last series, they've had these absolutely dominating performances that we expect out of our top rosters, but, Bliss have been a bit shaky so far. So I feel like, tonight is the night. It's time for, Bliss to show that, there is a reason that everyone was calling them the best roster in our league, and I think it's time to prove that.
It's do or die at this sort of point where it's if you need to start getting those points added up into the round robin, we're halfway through. Points early mean fantastic showings later on, but Skimmy as well, we talked about this team sort of playing a little bit slower, maybe not having the performance we wanted. Is there anything you think that they should be trying to improve on more for us?
Yeah, I think Violet needs to get another pentakill.
Yep.
If they can get that, then we're probably going to be pretty happy. One thing to note was that Kevy played back-to-back games with the Nidalee. Very strong, right? Obviously, good poke, great clear, very strong in skirmishing. But then the late-game heal steroid, which is through the roof. And so many times they were looking to play these comps that would have 2, maybe even 3 characters that would benefit from that Nidalee heal. I think the last game they played would have been the Caitlyn Ashe, right? Very aggressive, very in-your-face, we don't respect you kind of comp. Yeah, maybe it looks a little bit grief at times, but it gives you the engage, it gives you the harass, it gives you so much. So we just saw Iron go up. They got 2-0'd there by Antic. That's who Bliss 2-0'd last week. So if we've had all these top dogs getting massive performances in week 3, it's time for Bliss to show us that as well.
Well, we're going to have to talk with the other side of that and talk with someone from Dire Wolves. We got Mochi on the line joining us to have a quick little chat. G'day, mate. What is going on over there?
Hello, guys.
Now, mate, I have to quickly ask, we've got some high hopes for Dire Wolves, right? But I want to sort of talk about your split thus far. So after the first half of this split, how has the team come together to improve?
I mean, in my opinion, our opinion has gone a lot better since our first week, because it was pretty obvious that there weren't much coordinations in our first 2 games. Starting from second week, there's a lot more communication. I mean, the team and all the players are still, trying to get to know each other. I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. Looking forward to the coming up games.
So would you say someone's maybe taken the reign and become a bit more of the shot caller in your team?
Yeah, I think all of us are doing the shot calling on our teams. But yeah, it's more of a team communication than just to, compared to week 1, it was Katsuri doing all the calling, which is obviously from results didn't work out too well.
Yep, but Katsuri had a fantastic show, though. We can't deny that, but yeah, maybe we don't give him all those calls. But no, great to hear that you guys are all sort of sharing that load. And yeah, Tally, go.
Yes, okay, I'm very curious about this, because, last week, we saw you pull out the Wukong, and, I haven't seen this champion as a priority anywhere in the world, and I want to know why this is such a high priority for, you and the team.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of the champion myself, and again, it works well in our team comp as a someone that can go in first and start the team fight. Because I'm not sure if I should say this here, but protecting Katsuri is our main goal.
I think we know that one.
I think we all know that.
And Skimmy, I know you've got a question for him.
Yeah, well, obviously, welcome Mochi to the league. I suppose it's a two-part question. First, how have you found it getting into the competitive setting of League of Legends? And I suppose, second of all, going up against Bliss, what is your objective? Like, are we looking at Lee Sin, Carfus? Do you want to be the star of the show? Or is it basically what you said, right? Where it's like, peel Katsuri, win the game?
Yeah, so just answering your first question, entering League, it's, yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, this game has been with me as part of my childhood, and just, getting into the professional areas is, fulfilling a dream of mine. Yep, even if we don't make it to the end, I'm still happy that I get to compete in this competition. And just the second question, I mean, yeah, Bliss is definitely one of the top teams out there. We are pressured by playing against them, but we will try our best to beat them.
All the best, mate. I wish you the best of luck.
That's the confidence. Well, Mochi, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck in your games. I'm so excited. Honestly, you're my favorite right now. I think you're awesome. That there's something about you. It's like a calmness. It's like you feel almost too calm to be playing League of Legends. Is it just the years? But no, we won't get into that. Let's take this offline. But thank you so much, man, and good luck.
Thank you.
Oh,
I like Mochi.
Late on the wave. Damn.
I'm gonna be straight up. I like Mochi.
Yeah, those are some 10 out of 10 answers. I can't lie. That's
I agree.
Good energy.
They've got a good game plan. The team's feeling more confident. They've got the communication. Like, there's no monkey business, but we might see a Wukong. I was waiting to throw that out somewhere. But no, I love that, right? I think that's what we need to start seeing from especially the teams that are in the lower end of the bracket, where they're trying to work on the things that they can fix. And I think obviously they're fantastic players, right, Tally? Everyone here, you wouldn't be in this league if you weren't. It's now, how do you work better as a team? So I think seeing that is going to be really critical. But what are your thoughts on Mochi after that, Tally?
I kind of had the same thought process. Like, me and Skimmy were mentioning on cast, like, when they went for the Wukong in Game 2, it was like a replacement for the Skarner in Game 1. It's just someone who can go in. So, we kind of have the same idea about how that team functions as what he said. It's all about, protect the Katsuri, front to back. It's nice to see that, like, even though they are, like, saying, oh, yeah, this is our playstyle, they're still really confident that, like, okay, you guys know what we're going to do, but, like, are you prepared for it? Like, we don't really care. We're going to play the same, and we're just so good at it.
So what I'm hearing, and I know Skimmy's going to love this, we're seeing another Skarner top. We're going to see just all tanks everywhere. Don't even worry about Corki. Nah, gone. We're going to just ban out all the hyper carries. Let's tanks.
Just play Antics comp.
Yeah.
Literally copy-paste Antics comp. Raze becomes Katsuri, and Katsuri just 1v9s. Like, yeah. I think as long as you've got the setup to allow the AD carry to flourish, then it's just GG.
But there is maybe like a silver bullet potentially for that, because we have seen Draku do it in the last series, but we have Aladoric on the line, who is going to be the one hunting for Katsuri. Mate, how are you doing tonight? And welcome back to the LCO after your time off.
Hi, Papa. I'm good. Thanks. Good, thanks. And thank you very much.
He just called me Papa. He's my son. Aladoric, I love you. No, mate. Just want to say, welcome back again. I've always been a huge fan, but I want to sort of talk to you about your development. You had the time off, like I mentioned. How are you feeling coming into this split?
Whenever I play, I'm always confident that I'm the best. So nothing new, really. Just coming in, think I'm going to win. Otherwise, why am I here? I'm always going to win.
Tick, tick. That's just the answer I wanted. I just wanted to hear you say it so we can get our viewers to understand how good you actually are. But now I want to take that to the next step, right? I want to talk about PCS. Obviously, we've all got you very much as front runners. How do you find the team is preparing for the next step after LCO?
We're mainly just focused on LCO right now, and like with the news yesterday, obviously a bit more pressure to play better at PCS this year. But I think like whenever you play in a competition, whether it's overseas or OS, you have to have confidence when you're going in. So like no matter how we're looking in OS, what matters is how you play over there as well. Like when we're there, we're just going to play the best we can, and we're always going to think we can win every single game.
Too good. 10 out of 10 answers, man. I know Tally's got a question because old teammate, he's got something to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see you, Ali. I hope you see you on Azeroth soon.
James,
group up over there. But You know, for my question, I just want to know what it's like playing with Violet again, because you guys, like, in history are one of our strongest bot lane duos, but, like, I don't think you've been finding that, like, recent success, and what do you think is, like, you know, missing from that right now?
To be honest, we've been experimenting with like a lot of different drafts, different bot lanes. I don't see or think that we're playing like our Exodia, right? Like we're not trying our hardest or picking the stuff we think is going to automatically win every game. We want to try very different playstyles, be versatile, because I think that's the best way to win OS and overseas. So we're just trying to be more adaptable. And with Vincent, it's the same as it was. It's always been easy to play with Vincent. Still think we're the best, and we're also on a very upwards trajectory right now. Like we're getting better and better every day.
And to like touch on that again, I want to ask, because you know we're at the midway point now, and you talked about you guys are experimenting a lot. Are you going to continue to experiment? You know, keep growing as a team, or do you think it's time to like just start locking in the Zyra Khan, start locking in these combos, and just absolutely destroy?
We're gonna keep doing it. I mean, I'll just say you might see some tonight. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh. Mid-split, Skimmy. Mid-split. He's feeling confident.
He is. I suppose I want to follow on from Tally's point a little bit, right? Like, we're talking about the bot lane. I know back in your day, you've had your fun playing a Nami, getting 8 kills and just being the star of the show, right? We've all seen the Eladoric Nami Classic. So I sort of want to ask, if you're talking about experimenting, what are we looking in that bot lane? Are we looking for some champions that can be a bit of a hunter, on the prowl, find some kills? Or, do you want to go like Jarvan support so we can, start using Cataclysm?
Can't tell you the details there, mate. Skinny, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry, but it's definitely not the normal stuff you would see. I think I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Definitely some combos that we're cooking.
So we've got a Aladoric Heimerdinger. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Bendy inspired.
Yeah, taking it from Benvie. Well, Alok, thank you so much. Papa is incredibly proud of you. I'm so excited to see you play tonight. Good luck out there, and we'll see you on the Rift.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
No wave.
No wave. We got ratioed.
Yeah, no.
He's too cool for us.
Left on scene.
He is too cool.
GG.
I will say though, if he does lock an Ash, keep those arrows on the Rift. Me and Skimmy have enough to dodge on the cast. You don't have to dealing with the arrows and the Nami ults. Keep them on the Rift.
We do. We will have to react. If we can get a cam react of like him missing an ultimate, and then we can like edit that in, add some music, boom, viral. Ose goes to the top of Reddit again. Boom.
It's easy
Good reasons this time.
Let's have a look at the sides that both these teams have picked and look at what they got. Again, it's stock standard. Skimmy, blue sides all over again. I'm feeling blue, dubba D, dubba die.
What does it mean, guys? Eiffel 65, eat your heart out. Yeah, look, I think blue side just so broken right now. Just literally pick whatever you want, build the whole comp around it, and Bob's your uncle, eh? So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, but I guess it does tend to favor... I think it makes a lot of sense for Direwolves in particular, right? Because they want to try and build the Exodia around one player in particular, so securing the best AD carry on the patch or securing the best peeling champion to allow that to all take place. Obviously for Bliss, they have so much diversity. Red side, they're going to be very happy with that too. So I think in my opinion, more beneficial for Direwolves.
I think so. But Tally, before we get into that, I think we need to look at the Twitch points up in that corner over there. Again, I'm getting aggressive with it because you need to put all those points in or else you don't get the maximum gains. And if we're taking another book from Draco, if you're not getting maximum gains, you can't flex that hard.
He's going to say. If Max was here, be like, I need a Max win. But like, that's what you wanted to say, right? I could tell Tally wanted to say that, but he was showing so much like good boy behavior. Will I get in trouble if I do it? Who cares, mate? I just send it.
But you should also send a Twitch chat because that's important. Get those points in. Support your favorite team. Is it going to be Bliss or is it going to be Direwolves? We'll have to find out in a second. But we have our talent predictions as well that we need to get into so you know, as viewers, what we're looking at again.
Remember these lights were 7 points, eh?
See,
what's happened here?
I wasn't familiar with Antic's game. Apparently you had some insider knowledge that they were locked in today, but...
Raikou, baby.
I am familiar with Bliss's game though, and it's pretty hard to go against a 2-0 with this team. I think that, as Ali was mentioning, like they're experimenting a lot, so they're not really, showing their full potential, but they're still having these, 2-0 performances and finding, the points that matter. But I think when they finally find out, what they really want to play, what style they want to lock in, they're going to be a very powerful team.
Yeah, I think the reason I've gone for it, and it's more so because, yes, it's exactly that, right? We've seen comps that aren't as traditional for Bliss, but they've still been successful on it. So when they pull out something like their Exodia comp, Who knows what they're going to be able to do? It could be another record-breaking game. It's just what these hands could do. But Skimmy, why have you gone 2-0? Just give it to me.
Because the predictions never lie, Pike, mate. We lock in a score, we get a result, we smile, we meet at our meeting, we talk about next week, we get on our predictions again, we run it on repeat time and time again, and there you go. Our brain just swells. And no longer can we do Moku, we can't even fit our head in this little frame. So there you go.
No, I was going to say, I've seen this before, Twitch chatters. I've actually seen Skimmy. He's come onto camera and he's just got a crystal ball. He's just doing this sort of stuff and he's just like, yeah, I'm a wizard. And he just does that and then he's just like, yeah, it's this. And we're like, all right. And
but
then
you know what kind of wizard I am, Pike? Do you know what kind of wizard?
Stop trying to bait me into this conversation. I don't know.
Is it the shadow type?
Magic wizard.
It is! Whoa! Wow!
Which wizard?
This guy knows!
Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
Pike, you've fallen for it again.
Shadow.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy.
Just getting baited. That's okay. I don't need to be a shadow wizard. I can find my own cool thing. I'll find it eventually. He's not gonna be right now.
Even producers like L.
Yeah.
This is when you go fully like this and be like, you're the wizard, had it. Okay, we're getting way too crazy.
Yeah, now let's not work too hard.
Side.
I've made enough of a fool of myself. I'm just gonna hand it over to you guys. Enjoy the first game. Get your Twitch votes in. I'll see you there.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much there, Pike. Let's load into this one then, Tally. Let's see what we have in stock for our second series of the night. With a Nidalee ban right out the gates as the Ash is also denied. Some of those pocket picks will no longer be utilized.
Yeah, so we see a lot of the champs being left out right now. You know, this really favors Bliss because they want to, you know, give one OP, get multiple OPs in return, whether that's going to be like the Corki and the Rumble if they want to take both of those at the same time. But, you know, when I'm looking at Dial's comp, I don't really see them playing a lot of these like utility picks in the Jhin and the Varus. You know, I think Katsuri always wants to lock in these hyper carries and like the Kai'Sa, Zeri, the Aphelios, Jinx. Just be buffed up, just be able to, you know, take over these team fights. So, you know, looking at Dial's draft, I think it's going to be very predictable. But then, you know, Bliss can really take over, you know, take any direction they want. And we finally get to see Violet Aladoric play this extremely strong bot lane that we keep seeing over and over again in the center on.
It seemed like it was an inevitable factor, right? Yeah, we've seen Senna all day so far, but not the pairing that was running rampant last night. And it's going to be nice to see it in the hands of one of our strongest bot lanes to see just how good it really is. Obviously, Lima showed that he was all over the map, being an absolute menace with it. I'm quite curious to see if Violet will follow in quick pursuit as well. Aphelios Katsuri, a match made in heaven, certainly one of his best champions. And with the Skarner locked in too, it does beg the question, would it be top? Because Mayfang should surely have that under his repertoire, having been a ex-jungler, or would it be in the jungle? Because that's what Mochi did last week.
You know, as much as we do want to see the Skarner top Skimmy, I think that Mochi showed, you know, his prowess on the champion was quite unmatched. Like, he looked like he was very proficient on it, had a lot of practice on it, was finding really nice gank pass, and it was doing just a really good job to have an impact on the game on, like, you know, a champ that we consider to have a slow early game and to, like, ramp up when he gets the items. He's got more levels, able to clear his camps a bit faster. But, you know, I expect Daiwals to go for the, you know, drop support, pick it in China later on, because, you know, one of the better answers to the bot lane that we're seeing in center on is the scaling. You know, maybe we get to see the tank busters come out like further on as I'm, you know, losing my voice again. You know, get to see like the Cogmores, the Veins, but you know, I think for now, picking these scaling bot lanes is just a really good answer into the scaling, you know, safe laners in the center on themselves.
Which I think makes a lot of sense as to why they banned Lulu, because it's been a long time since we've seen a Lulu ban in the very first rotation. But if you do want that double support, infinite protection comp, we've seen it in the past, right? Especially towards the end of Split 1, it was just double support all day, and they would win as a result. Not going to be completely sold, though, on that Skarner going into the jungle. Second rotation comes out, and they're going to ban away the Kindred, having already locked in the Vi.
Yeah, so Bliss, very obvious what they want to do in draft. They're picking dive. Firstly, they're denied the Ahri Vi combo. Very, very, you know, known mid-jungle pairing where it's so easy to kill, you know, the mid lane you're versing. Very easy to get priorities to do, so they take away the Vi, which is also very good with their comp, so they have this dive threat onto the Protect the Katsuri comp. Even though they are going for the Ahri, this is still a champ who can function in a peel comp, you know, with the charm, with the amount of mobility you have, you can act as a, you know, a little bit of a wall to make sure that, like, if you're diving through Aphelios, you know, you got to deal with this Ahri who can get very fed. So I want to see what pairing Bliss want to go for, if they want to go for more dive. If the Rumble is left up, I expect that to be locked in for, you know, Bio on 4, but more than likely it will get banned away.
I would imagine so, absolutely. Tom Kench also denied too. Fantastic ban, especially when you've got a Vi comp, right, that wants to go forward, wants to lock out a key carry. And if it is built around one individual, then Vi certainly is that go-to answer. Ori as well as Azir, two of Harry's most proficient champions, denied right out the gates. But obviously we know that he has such a massive champion pool. He is not going to be too upset by this whatsoever. I am curious, though, what direction they want to go with this. If he was to dabble with, you know, assassin champs, for example, having the center on his side and just eliminating that one crucial pick, or if he wants to still stick with those mages in general.
Yeah, definitely has the option to go for an assassin here on the 5th pick for Harry, because it is also, like, you're playing the dive comp. We saw what Incursor was able to do on the champion. You're going to have a tougher time into the RE lane, but you can still survive it, navigate it, make sure you're in a good position, and then, you know, hit those team fights. And if this affiliate doesn't get peel coming out of the rest of his team in the 4 or 5 positions, he's going to have a really hard time dealing with this dive. As we do see the Rumble come out for Bliss, I do want to touch on this fact, is that Aladoric plays this champion a lot, and this is another center pairing. So I think they can flex this Rumble and Ornn based on the matchups they get, and if they want to, you know, bully the bot lane, they can really put this Rumble into bot, and we've seen how strong Rumble as a support acts, but, you know, he's going to have access to the farm, have even more damage, so have to see what Bliss want to do.
Well, he did tease it, didn't he, in his interview, saying you might see it tonight, so whether or not it is actually going to be locked in, I think it just adds another layer to the complexity that Bliss have, right? All those years of experience, all the ability to flex these champions, and even on a red side, find some winning advantages right until their final pick. They're going to go for the Bard, Direwolves. Deliberating on their last pick, though, to try and offer them both engage as well as disengage, and currently hovering the Zen. Crescent Guard could be quite nice for some of those projectiles from afar, especially that Ornn ultimate, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we aren't seeing the you know, the traditional front to back coming out of Direwolves to protect the Katsuri comp, but they are, you know, they're putting more eggs in the other lanes, so we get to see a lot more, you know, carry potential coming out of the rest of the Direwolves comp, but Katsuri will still be able to do his job. I think that they have gone for the Bard, you know, as like they can ult the Katsuri, you know, so he's able to survive the initial via, you know, ult and then flash out afterwards. That could be something they're going for with the Bard, because I don't think Bard in isolation is good into the comp of Bliss. I think being aggressive with the Bard ult isn't really what you want to do. You aren't really going to find the windows to be able to pick out this comp. The Tristana pick for Bliss is extremely good at rounding out their comp. You know, they got the solo AP and Rumble, they have the side lane threat in the Tristana, and they have the really good front to back threat and engage coming out of the rest of the team comp. So I think, you know, Bliss have got every tool they want. They knew what Dai was going to draft like. They know that if they take out Katsuri, it's going to be a much easier game for them.
They certainly do, and I think they've definitely given themselves a position of both damage as well as engage that, you know, if things don't work too well in just a straight front to back, at least they have split pushing on their side. And a little bit of scaling to boot too with the ornament, farming up all of that gold. I think the Bard point is kind of comical though, right? The fact that you could say, yeah, I've literally locked in this champion to give my AD carry a Zonia's at level 6. You'd be like, come on, man, surely support hasn't been relegated from having one, no gold, then into becoming a ward bot, into now, yeah, I'm just literally an item running on the map.
Well, I will give him a bit more credit. Bard is, you know, it's a roaming champion. So one of the things with the Senna Ornn pairing is that they're not very strong laners. It's all about scaling. We saw how much the Senna was roaming yesterday. And like when you get to match that as the Bard, that's what you want to do. You want to be roaming around the map. You're still going to be getting XP from the chimes. You're going to be getting stacks anyway. You can impact the map a lot more than the Senna would be able to, especially in the skirmishes. So I expect to see a lot of roaming, and then the Aphelios and the Ornn left in the 1v1. And, you know, Aphelios getting a lot of solo experience is what Katsuri wants. He is that carry threat, and he wants to be able to get as much golden experience as possible to take over these team fights coming up.
Well, I think it's a valid point, because if the the Bard, I should say, it does get given a chance to roam and is successful in that, then suddenly you've got a very strong Ahri that's roaming with you, then that's impacting the other lanes, and then it's no longer just a case of can Aphelios 1v9, can Katsuri do it all on his own? It's a team that has the threat, so if you are, you know, pile driving into one character, you are going to have to lose members in the process. I suppose you sort of touched it briefly before, right? That Bliss's comp is pretty well-rounded. They haven't gone for the Rumble Flex in the end, but do you think this would have been a good draft for it, or do you think they've actually made the correct decision?
Oh, absolutely. I think if they went for the Rumble, you know, with the center pairing, you know, hit a harpoon on lane on either champion, it's so hard to deal with, especially when the ult comes out later on. Both the mobile champions, they're going to, like, it's so hard for them to deal with the Rumble, and they can't really zone Rumble or farming either, because, you know, no one wants to stand between a harpoon and creep. There's so much damage, but I think it's completely fine to put the Ornn in bot lane. I feel like this game is going to play out as we're going to see Aphelios and Ornn left in bot, and it's going to be a 4v4 on the top side. I think this is what the game plan that Direwolves needs, because they have to snowball. I don't really see them having a very easy time in the mid game if this is a, you know, even or a head game for Bliss.
It does seem a little bit brutal, right? The fact that if you know, the Ari or the Zen doesn't really explode into action with their strong 2v2, then you are really putting it down to a level 6 Vi, suddenly finding a target, finding access, and then you've got literally everybody jumping into the backline, right? Bio laying down the grey carpet, the red carpet, I should say. I suppose it makes you grey because you do die in the end. But then all that range from like a Tristana and a Senna coming on through thereafter. And I mean, with Ornn, it's always that easy go button, right? Such a long engage with that ultimate. Really makes up some of the weaknesses of those short-range comps. But let's get ourselves into the game. You mentioned before some of the game plan for Direwolves would be to snowball, but let's expand upon the 4v4 a little bit more. What should then Bliss's game plan be? Just passively scale through, or do you want to be pretty proactive as well?
Well, see, the thing with Bliss comp is they can be proactive or they can just scale because they're pretty comfortable with their scaling. You know, when you think of Vi, you think, oh, the champ isn't very good at scaling. Xin Zhao would probably give the edge to Xin in the scaling department, but when you pair Vi with so much dive and the ability to, you know, do so much damage in the late game, it only matters if Kevy is able to hit the assault and battery onto the right targets, because you get followed up with the Ornn ult, with the, you know, the grey carpet as we've worded it, and he's done his job, so he's going to be able to scale to this game really well. I don't think they're too uncomfortable about, you know, if this game is, you know, even heading into mid game. There's always the Tristana threat later on into the game. You know, Ari can't really match that scaling, but Guapi does have the ability to set up the damage for his team, and I think that's a very underrated thing about Ari in the, you know, mid-late game team fights.
Does it almost feel right then to say that Bliss's game plan, there's more outs, like they have more options compared to Direwolves? It's like you must snowball or you simply will just not be relevant once mid to late comes around?
Yeah, definitely they have more outs, and I think in the past when we look at Bliss's drafts, they have been very, you know, one-dimensional, and they don't really have room for, you know, misplays, as we see a lot of like these 5 carry threat comps, but now they've gone for a lot more of a standard comp, a lot more options, a lot more flexibility, and I think like even if Bliss does mess up the early game, as we have seen in the past happen quite frequently, they'll be a lot more comfortable.
Well, let's see then how this early game does play out. Whilst we've been talking, obviously there's a bit of trading between primarily mid as well as bot to try and get things online. You see Violet do a fair chunk onto Shinky, who may be used to playing the tanky supports. He's going to drop himself down to 50% very early on, but with a few of those healing piles in the backline should be quite happy. And we nearly got through a whole broadcast. It's so close, but it's our first pause of the day.
Yeah, unfortunate, but this always gives us more time to talk about the game, which is, you know, what we're here for, Skimmy. So I guess we get to touch on the fact that, you know, this early game, we don't really expect the Bliss bot lane to be able to get pushed. You know, they have the melee range duo into the double range duo. You always give it to the, you know, the double range bot lane should be ending up getting pushed because you're able to auto the minions the entire time. But, you know, Bliss have been able to, you know, get some push, get some vision. So they're very happy with that because, you know, that navigates Ornn's, you know, rough early phase before he gets to build some items, get some resistances, and is able to, you know, take some damage as he's like putting himself in position to get the CS.
Which is exactly right. I mean, obviously, the Ornn is going to become very, very strong given all those resources. I suppose let's talk about junglers then. We've briefly touched on, you know, the impact that a Vi can offer. I suppose we alluded to the idea that the 2v2 of Direwolves is incredibly strong. Is it as simple and as clear-cut as to say, hey, you need to play a fair bit respectively because the Zen may just be visiting mid more often than not?
Well, the thing with Tristana is you can't really gank this champion unless it decides to jump in, and even if it does, you know, if you find the reset on the rocket jump, it's very easy to just, you know, jump out again. You still have access to the flash, but I expect Harry to just be trading with, you know, the E and some autos, you know, try to sidestep the charm and just always play for the push, always just trade for that trade without jumping. He's still going to end up doing his job of just getting priority over and over again because Tristana just is better at pushing waves than Ari. Ari has to focus using spells on the wave, and if he does that, he can't trade.
Can't trade, but can we see ourselves the potential first blood here as that Zorg is not wanting to fall on down, burning the flesh and not falling victim to the first gank of the game with a nice little adventure time through that wall. So Mochi with double buffs is going to be forced to retreat to the bot side.
As you see, Mayfan getting very low here from a trade coming out of Bio. I do think they have dive threat onto this if he does decide to stay around. I have to see like if Kevin wants to commit to this dive after the crab. He is definitely sitting in heat range for the amount of damage he has here, and they don't have access to the ignite, so this might be a harder dive if he's able to pull the wave like he is doing right now.
Bio was making sure that his heat would stay stacked up as high as it could be. Stun goes out, flashing at a range, and he's done it! The Madman has pulled it off successfully. Incredibly low, but the first blood does go Bliss's way.
Yeah, almost really well played there by Mayfans, you know, flash and get the reposition on the Scani. We've seen, like, time and time again, the hitbox on this is nigh instant, so it's very hard to react to, very hard to outplay, but fortunately, not enough damage coming out of there, and they're able to pick up the easy first blood.
More aggression to be found than in the mid lane, with Harry getting aggressive, knowing that there's not going to be any kind of gank coming his way soon, so just jumping on your head, making you get punished for it, and making a massive CS lead start to work in his favor. We're going to play towards the top half of this lane too, having just put a control ball down in that bush. And I suppose put Guapi in a bit of a predicament. How do you want to get to level 6? You've already burnt the TP, and you know, how are you going to get bailed out of this?
Yeah, he should be fine, you know, with the RE passive, the extra bit of sustain, it's not really going to be too bad. His wave state, like, it's pushing into him, he gets the base, you know, unfortunately it's not on the cannon wave, so this wave is going to crash before he's going to be able to get back to lane if he does decide to commit the recall, so he's going to miss out on, like, probably 1 or 2 melee creeps, which, you know, is pretty bad, but it's not too bad based on how the lane is going for him in the 1v1, so he's going to come back, be able to pick up the XP anyway, but Harry once again just finding push over and over again just due to like the power of Tristana. That's why we're seeing this champ be like one of the strongest, if not the strongest champs in the patch currently.
It seems to be that way. First rotation means that a first blood happens top side. Nani look to use that tempo to go for the very first Drake. Rum and Q2, 5 minutes in. Quite nice to see that actually. Given that we've had this overwhelming majority of players say, you know what, forget the dragon, we want the grubs, we want a siege, we want to set up, and we want to punish in that regard instead. So Infernal Drake off the board, unfortunately for us. No Infernal Salt, and with Ocean being taken too, then maybe there's a dream in which the Hextech Soul comes out to play.
Yeah, and another thing to touch on here, because of the center on, like the flexibility this has in the game, we might see, you know, Violet come out of base, roam up towards the grubs if they want to fight this, because, you know, in the 4v4, they should be much stronger than Direwolves, and, you know, they don't, if Direwolves decide to, you know, trade the grubs away, they don't really have the threat to dive onto the Ornn, but they are committing to a dive here and buy this a stacked wave. He doesn't have flash, so this should be pretty easy for them to commit, but, you know, we see it coming out of base. Kevy and Violet, let's see if they can make it here on time.
There's no flash, but needs this wave to crash. There it is, level 6. All it took was 1 minion. He burns the Equalizer on the wave because he knows he's getting dived. The Impale is there. He's been suppressed, dragged out of turret range. That's actually kept Mayfan alive as Guapi takes the reins and grabs the aggro.
Harry.
Maybe Kevy entertains the idea if he had ultimate of his own, but he does not. So Harry's then forced to pick up the pieces. They won't be greedy and go for the 2. They'll say Mayfan's a sure thing. Let's make sure that Harry gets his first kill online.
Yeah, it's just going to be easy for Harry to push out. If they decide to stay top, he can even, you know, match that himself. Kevy's going to go for the grubs and pick up that very easy if Mochi decides to walk into river. Harry's always going to have the rotation. He's much stronger than the Ahri in the skirmish right now, and we have Bio coming out of base as well, so it's going to be pretty easy pick up for them. And, you know, unfortunately, Bliss, you know, lost the bot place because the, you know, Violet was on the top side when the wave crashed, so it's a little bit of gold coming back to Cat 3, and this is the play we need to look out for Direwolves. This is the one who needs to get the gold, the one who needs to come online, and their main win condition.
Will be their main win condition, right? We've seen him in recent times to be the Aphelios, sometimes even the Lucian, and on the rare occasion, dabbles with a little bit of Kaiser too. Certainly all champions that fit the bill of being that, you know, 1v9 machine, and certainly farming up an absolute storm right now to put him in that contention. Unable to reset back to base is Aladoric. We'll be hunting for level 6 as well to match that of the Direwolves 2v2. But locked underneath the turret is going to be biding their time, waiting to see who pops their head in next.
Yeah, and I think this early game is going to come down to Harry as well, because how much of the gap he has in mid lane right now, I believe he's able to push the wave and constantly, you know, pressure sides, you know, fake fog and make sure people are like, oh, Tristana could be roaming bot, we need to respect this right now. So I expect to see, instead of hitting turrets when Harry's in fog of war, they're going to play to, you know, just back off and reset.
Well, the pressure rings true though in this bot lane. Violet no doubt will be farming up an absolute storm, making sure those soul stacks are in a good spot. What did you mention before? It was like 5 stacks a minute was a good measure?
Yeah, but like once again in the laning phase, it's very hard to find stacks, you know, versus double range champs. You, as center, you need to, you know, proc a spell and then an auto or 2 autos back to back to be able to get a stack, and then, you know, kind of the RNG when it comes to creeps in the early game, not very good, but when you hit that mid game point, you're able to link up with your jungler. A lot of souls you get will come from jungle camps dying. Actually, the drop rate is much higher. And pair that with, you know, the amount of ways you're able to, you know, catch as you're following around your carries throughout the map, you know, that's when you really start to power spike on the souls.
No doubt about it. Obviously, at this point, no mana left as well, so that ability to weave in those spells is going to be even harder to do now. So it feels like they are long overdue a reset back to base. But whether or not they'll be afforded it without intervention from Kevy, who seems to be resetting and pathing towards this lane, that might be the break point here. Is Shinky looking to try and threaten there with another magical journey, but ends up copping a fair bit of damage in retaliation instead. So with Kevy in the area, it looks like Direwolves aware of this. They've got wards fairly advanced up, and you can see that Mochi's also pathing towards this, so we might see a clashing of 2.
Yeah, and something to touch on, we haven't seen the Bard go for any roams yet. I don't know whether that's because he thinks, you know, it's way too hard for me to impact mid right now. Like, he has no treads, we don't have the damage to threaten this Tristana, he's too mobile, or whether he just wants to really tunnel in on the laning phase for the Bard. But, you know, I think there are other champions who could have done, you know, lane pressure better than the Bard, so we have to see, like, what Shinky does. You know, I assume after this next base will be, you know, because he has access to the level 6, what he really wants to do with this game.
I suppose he's a bit of a predicament, isn't he, Shinky? It's like, do we want to try and continue to win bot lane, or do I need to try and bail out Guapi? Because he continues to fall further and further behind, now down 35 CS, which is a rough spot to be in, because it really is just opening the door for Harry to say, not only am I crushing you in the lane, I've also gone for a Cole, so like my snowball is going to be out of control.
Yeah, Harry is definitely like on the clock. We see like he's chovying right now in the CS department. He's very happy with how his game is going. He pretty much never has to base because he's, you know, he's so much sustained from the fleet, from like, you know, the cult and the Doran's Blade. He can just stay in lane all the time, just stack up as much gold as possible, get to his 2-item power spike and really just take over the game.
You can see him any single time we pan into the mid lane, it's just Guapi running away, unable to answer back, right? It's just so brutal, the trading patterns, as Kevy might be sniffing out trouble, might be looking to jump across the wall. What do you do when the Vi just point blank knocks you in the air and says there's an ultimate? But that's really overkill at this point, because they take Guapi down for the first time this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though Guapi does go down before the Assault Battery lands, it does go on cooldown. That is the interaction. It goes on cooldown as soon as you cast it, not when you land. So Kevy wastes his ult there, even though they do find the kill. This is just, you know, Harry creating this advantage for his team. You know, he keeps, you know, being able to jump forward and they can't trade back. He's got the Merc, so like, even if the charm does land, the CC duration is just not there. So like the gank threat is pretty much non-existent onto him. He creates priority. He is outscaling. He's winning the early game. He's doing everything he needs right now.
He's doing everything for his team as well, because the fact is he wins the push, either it's a kill or it's the wave crashing. That means that the R is obviously locked in place. And back to back now, we've seen that the wave crashes in mid. Harry then rotates. They go for the dragon. It really has been on respawn, right? First one done at 5.5 minutes, the next one there 5 minutes thereafter. So not a bad spot to be in if you are Bliss right now. But unfortunately, we have yet another pause. We refrain ourselves, I suppose, from speculating. But you do have to wonder what it could be.
Yeah, definitely. You always think about it, but in the end, it's the same thing. Pause is a pause. You just have to wait until the issue resolves itself. And we get to, you know, we get to ramble. We get to talk more about, you know, backgrounds in player camps, like who's making their bed. You know, what's going on in here. Can't even tell. I can't even tell what's going on.
What is going on in here? Because we're so advanced. We're like Hex Flash, right? Like Hayden, it just blurs out the background because we're like in a Zoom meeting right now. Except we're not even talking anything business related. We're just playing games with the lads. I think. What have we got here? Bed made? It looks like it.
Yeah, I'd say that's a semi bed made. You know, we have some.
That's a Mayfun dub.
Yeah, and we got, you know, clothes in the laundry basket. It looks like in the corner there. So, you know, good job staying tidy, clean gameplay, clean background. Good to see. And then
another bed made.
Another bed made from Bayer. You know, very clean gameplay on the rubble. Very clean room. I think it goes to say people who clean their bedroom have clean League of Legends games.
And it looks like the carpet is clean as well, mate. So it's like there's no crumbs to be found here. There's no ways for people to get back into the game. As we do actually get back into that one. That's a bit of a coincidence. Good timing on our end as we do see what takes place after that dragon falls on down. Cloud Soul up for grabs then, which might not actually be too bad because all that extra movement speed could be pretty good for both sides.
Yeah, Mochi does manage to steal away the grub there. So, you know, at least Styles are able to get something. But, like, once again, they're playing around their win condition. They're making sure Katsuri is able to push, able to get plays and get... As long as he's online, there's always a win condition from Direwolf. So, like, even though, like, as a Direwolf fan, you look at this game and say, oh, it's, like, so... It's very hard for us to play. It's so doomed. As long as Katsuri is on the clock, if he's online, if he's getting his items, he's getting his experience, he's getting his CS, he can still carry this game.
He certainly can still carry this game. If you can hit that 2-item breakpoint with the Collector into an Infinity Edge, I tell you what, you will be one-shotting people. It will hurt. We saw it earlier today from Raze. And we certainly know it's possible by Katsuri as well. 2 plates remain. That's a lot of gold that they can look to try and cash in. Hence the priority to sit in this lane for as long as possible. And for Mochi, just the shadow more than anything. They know that he's here. He's on vision. And in their face, Team Bliss decide to force a fight. They actually zone them back out. Out comes the Call of the Forge God. In comes the TP. Harry, with all the gold he has, instantly rocket jumps into effect. This is Mochi. You're the next one on my target. Flashing in your face, Katsuri hits the red weapon ultimate and tries to get some life back, but not enough life to be found as 2 becomes 4, and the Tristana is unstoppable.
Yeah, this is just really well played by Violet. You probably wouldn't notice it, but like he lands the root on the minion dying, so the AoE procs onto Katsuri. He gets CC'd on the turret. Aladoric a bit lost on the Ornn mechanics there, decides to go in with the E when he doesn't have the knockup available, so like they weren't able to find the kill instantly, but with the Call of the Forge God, with the TP, it's just a very easy cleanup coming out of that side of Bliss.
I do love to see it when things all work out in the end, but I'm absolutely terrified now for Guapi. How does he respond to this matchup? Because we saw it happen earlier today, right, where Doraemon was wanting to just stay out of the lane from Zornis, didn't ever want to participate. How does Azari get back into this one as Biopanther goes in with the Equalizer, drops him down low, the Impale comes out, Mayfun thinks he survived, but then Kevy rocks up and hits him with the deja vu for the second time.
Yeah, it definitely feels bad, man. Like, Mayfan thought he finally found the kill angle, but Kevy is just everywhere on the map. Kevy's always where he needs to be. He's using his ult off cooldown. As we do go into replay, we get to see the interaction with Violet, finding the root onto Katsuri. It kills on the minion here, hits the root, which means Katsuri's CC'd up. Doesn't even matter, the stock up doesn't land, because TP's coming through, and with the Call of the Forge Goal, which doesn't get cancelled, unfortunately, by the Bard ult. Means that the sums are down, which means Harry can easily, you know, clean up with the how much damage he has right now. And even Violet landing another root here onto Katsuri again is the reason they find a second kill.
They certainly do. One was enough, but two is certainly the icing on the cake for them. As at the 14-minute mark, Team Bliss, well, they've basically got themselves a 5k gold lead, sitting very, very comfortable. You'd imagine the lion's share of that gold being certainly in Harry's back pocket, as he's not even going to entertain the idea of hitting that turret. Just going to let that wave get denied underneath. But now we find ourselves a cheeky opportunity to find a kill in mid lane, and it's enough to warrant a flash.
Yeah, definitely. You always have to respect the Bard ult coming out. It's just so easy to, you know, line up your abilities or your CC straight after the cooldown is out. Everyone's familiar with this, the cooldown of Zhonya's or Bard ult, so it's just very easy to line up. And I think this is when it gets very scary for Direwolves, because, you know, Harry's in the side lane, and this is when he's able to really take over the game if he's enabled. He has so much, you know, he already has a decent amount of items in his inventory. Unfortunately, not going for the Infinity Edge second, which I think is the better option than going the double attack speed items. But Guapi doesn't have ult here, and Kevy's ult is almost off cooldown.
So it is almost off cooldown, but it's even required at this stage. Dawning Shadow from mid to bot connects, gets the assist, and three members share the gold around. Mayfun returning back to lane, realizing that, look, this Rumble matchup is a little bit too much to bear right now, because Direwolves have their eyes on the prize, and that is protect the president. And in this case, the president is Katsuri, looking to try and find his first kill of the game. He's died once, but now he's going to kill to equalize that KDA. The bomb on Katsuri's head. Violet looking for more. Mochi forced to jump away. The Chakram's still spinning, unable to persevere, as he will fall down to the center in the end. A shutdown goes the way of Mochi, who most importantly gets all that gold claimed from Harry's Tristana. But Shinky may have just done enough to escape death today.
Yeah, and that's some gold going in the hands of Direwolves. That's what they need. Like, they've blown a lot of summoners throughout these, like, skirmishes they keep finding, but, you know, that's just the only window to really, you know, punish. As we do see, Bliss are the ones who are aggressing here. We see Algor throughout Call of the Forge Goal, but the rest of his team isn't here, so this is just a bit of inting on his part. But, like, going into the replay, we see, you know, how hard it is to kill this Ornn. He's so tanky, he's so farm up, so much time for Harry to be able to rotate in and, you know, find the damage he does onto Katsuri, even though with the stun landing and with Violet, you know, not helping his teammate out to take down Mochi, because he really wants to take out his 80 carry counterpart.
So he does, and it says, I can be a support, I can get no farm, but I'm still getting stacks, I've got the souls, and I'll claim yours as well. So a double kill in Violet's back pocket certainly feels quite nice. 9 kills to 3 then. Certainly has been Team Bliss favoured, but Direwolves have answered back for the first time, it feels like, truly this game. Finding at least something in the middle. Another Dragon up and available, and Team Bliss, you know, certainly want to make sure it goes their way. Fantastic charm on the tail end there. They thought they did enough, flashing out that Tempered Fate, but Violet is the focus. Mochi jumps in, he's bitten off more than he can chew, because that equalizer means that nobody can back him up. Guapi jumps in to follow his jungler, and he also shares the same fate. The heal is there, it's good from Katsuri, but Harry says, here, have a present as you run away, and Shinky parts away.
Yeah, unfortunately, doesn't find the right person with the, you know, the E there, but still a win for Bliss. And like when we take stock of this game, like what can Direwolves really do? Because you look at the side lanes, they can't play to the Tristana. They can't trade on the Rumble side because you can always just throw the equalizer down, clear the wave, and back off. Their only real window is to, you know, engage on the 3 mid. They have to punish the center flash with the Bard ult, but even then, they can't really abuse the 3v3 because of how strong these 3 champs in the Vi, the center, and the Ornn are right now.
Yeah, it's one of my concerns about this game plan, right? Obviously, we know Direwolves, they've been so sure, so certain in what their game plan should be, but I feel like a team as well-versed as Team Bliss should know how to try and respond to that, and that is exactly what they've done in this game. I tell you what, though, mind the gap. Look at Harry, nearly at 10,000 gold, and his closest teammate is 3k behind.
Yeah, Harry has just had an absolute field day this game. He's got, I think it was 10 plates already. You know, he's fighting multiple solo kills, he's getting all the farm he needs, he's just creating so much pressure on the map.
Charm, Dawning Shadow, get an assist and make sure that Guapi is zoned out of the base. Basically a win at this point, right? Down to 50%, and that lane becomes free again. Up by 70. It is just a starter right now. This time there is no flash to get you out of harm's way, so that Tempered Fate will connect. Violet's the focus, but Mochi has to turn around, protect Katsuri. His attention is diverted. He then jumps back in, but it's a case of who can dive the 80 carry quicker. Mochi wins, so does Kevy. The junglers show that they are a massive factor in this one as well. And then Guapi with nowhere to run. He's got no flash. He's got no Spirit Rush. He is just getting burned on the barbecue.
Yeah, and as easy as that, we get to see once again every single time there is a window for Direwolves to go on mid, Bliss just had his members. They just are always there to respond, and even though Violet does fall down in the end, it's always a favorable trade for Bliss. We see what Mayfine can do on the Skana here.
He's trying to be crazy, he's trying to be clever, and unfortunately for him, he's drifted into a wall and fallen on down. So a little bit of Scorpion meat on the menu for them. Yet another turret falling on down. 3-1. The map becomes even easier for Bliss to play around, and what was a humble 5k lead is about to become 10.
Yeah, and we haven't really been able to see what this Skana can do so far, Skimmy, because it's just constantly put in these like rough matchup, you know, abused in the early game positions, and then we can't really see, like, as it scales into like the mid game, as it can be the strong front line for his team, we're just not really seeing like that impact. So I would really like to see, you know, more stable games. I want to see the power of the Skana, because I know the champion is really OP. It's just unfortunate we haven't been able to see what it can do yet.
Yet to be in a position or a draft or I suppose even a situation, right, where the Skana can really showcase its true prowess. But either way, I suppose let's talk about the current game state. We're fast approaching 20 minutes. It's seemingly like Bliss want to go for the Herald, and then I'd imagine the Baron thereafter. But what is the game plan back for Direwolves? Because we always look for these avenues back into the game, and I think we were quite clear in that it was a one avenue, right? Like Direwolves had the snowball or they were behind. But is there any kind of copium, anything we can like hunt for? Like Katsuri just gets an insane shutdown, or they just throw at Baron. Is that what we're kind of like hedging our bets on now?
Yeah, I think the keyword there is shutdown, Skimmy, because like when we look, or as we come out of the replay, we'll be able to see that like when we look at the Bliss roster, a lot of shutdowns on their team right now. And if they find those picks with the Bardo when they have the numbers advantage and they get the shutdowns onto the right members, which is most likely going to be Katsuri this game, they can come back into the game. And it's a very narrow avenue. They don't really have many options to be able to play this game based on how much gold they are down, how many turrets they've already been taken down by Harry in the side lane. It's just going to be all about finding these shutdowns onto the right members, maybe trading in objectives, putting Katsuri in a side lane, using the Bard as like a roaming tool to be able to finally get these shutdowns.
Let's see what they can accomplish, because they're going to need a whole bunch of help from the game itself to allow them back into this one. And I don't know if this is correct, but it's just the first time we've seen somebody go for the questing boots, right? The what do they call it? Symbiotic souls.
Yeah, the symbiotic souls. We haven't really seen this one. This is the new item in I guess the after the new patch update. It's the replacement for mobility boots, and like what it does is you get Baron Recall, and then you have a quest where you need to travel a certain amount of distance on the map, and when you get that, you finally get the mobility boot upgrade where you get the extra move speed out of combat. It's very nice on like Bard, especially because you want to be recalling and roaming, but I think there are some mid laners who can abuse this item, like the Zoe who just like pushes a wave instantly and can like get off the map, and see Harry just absolutely blow up Shinji.
I was so ready for your play-by-play, but like he's going so quick, he's running it into base. Like he just went for a portal and died during the animation. So sad. Either way though, 1 becomes 2. They're going to hunt down for their 3rd kill. Kevy gets amongst us, says, give me an assist. Do I need to burn ultimate? These fists will get it done. He's now on a rampage, and right on cue, they go to Baron.
Yeah, and I think that with this Baron, it's going to be very easy for Bliss to close out this game or get in a position to be able to just completely dominate the entire map. I expect the rest of the inner turrets to be broken, if not multiple inhibitors, just based on like how far they are ahead. And I think, for Direwolves, it's hard to say that you'd like you to be in a position where you need to start talking about the next game, but I would say that it's better to just focus on what you could have, don't worry too much about this game because of the game state, and really focus on what's to come.
Yeah, it's happened. It is what it is. It's rough. Let's run it back with another draft with a different outcome. Fingers crossed. Guapi surrounded by multiple members. Shinky there to back him up, but a blast cone that actually saves the day for both of them, it would seem. The shortest magical journey that Guapi struggles to click, and is that his demise as a result? Tempered Fate. Fantastic. Harry having jumped in there, thinking he's found their kill, but a Spirit Rush denying it all.
Yeah, unfortunately not enough damage there, but Guapi has to blow his ult, which means he's not going to have that same engaged threat onto the carries coming out of Bliss. So I think with this Herald, there's going to be a huge push coming out of Bliss.
Unbelievable. Look at that. 6 Void Grub stacks. They've got a Herald. They're going to summon another Legion of these mites to hit this turret in a second. That turret ceases to exist, as does Mochi. Dies at the same time that the base comes crumbling on down. They're going to look to go for this inhibitor, and thereafter, do they look to try and go for the end? How many times have we seen today? Alone. 6 stacks means all it takes is 1 kill to open up the base to end the game. Violet might have something to say, though, as he drops his HP criminally low. And does that dissuade them? Because they actually now will turn their attention to mid, as Bio has prepped that wave.
Does have access to the heals. He can stay around a bit longer, as we just see the engage coming out, and I think this might be lights out for Direwolves.
Well, the Forge God jumps on through. Redemption coming on down and need a little bit more help to try and persevere through all of this pain because they've just found 2 so quickly and so effortlessly. Look at that Moonlight Vigil. That's with only 1.5 items. Forgetting about the Collector, rushing the IE. Katsuri was there. He just needed a little bit more, but Bliss denied it. And Bliss are exuding their class. 4 and 20 on the kills. They're sitting pretty, and they're happy at the 22-minute mark.
Yeah, and a different identity we're seeing out of Bliss. You know, we're really used to seeing the Violet Aladora show all about the carry bot lane, but they take a step back, they play the defensive bot lane, and they're like, Harry, you know, it's your turn, you take over the game, and he definitely has the potential to absolutely destroy games as we've just seen.
Well, it certainly was the start of the show in that game. It was a bit of a Tristana masterclass, to put it lightly, in terms of getting a lead, exuding the lead, pushing it into all other areas of the map, and really allowing us to say that they are the favourites for a reason. And I think we're one step closer, Tally, to realising that all these top dogs have certainly come to play here in Week 3. We'll get to see if they can also close it out for all 3 points right after